Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Pat Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Byron Nelson, DraftKings picks and preview. We're going to build some lineups, get to the final bets, the weather, the one and done. It's all here for you. And if you want to get in on FantasyNational.com, today is the day to get the best savings ever. 20% off at FantasyNational.com/Mayo. You get the weekly membership right now. You get Wednesday to Wednesday, which means you get to make all your lineups, do all your research, use all the ownership projections, and all of the live stats and showdown stuff for the Byron Nelson. Then goes to Wednesday next week, and boom, you have all the PGA Champion stuff in there as well. So get two for the price of one at FantasyNational.com/Mayo. The Listeners League, not yet full for this week. Only 2,500 spots because we're maxing it out for the PGA Championship. And here's the good news. Both of the Listeners Leagues are now available down in the description. The Masters one filled on Monday. That was almost 7,000 spots. So I'm going to guess this one's going to go flying off the rails as well. So get your spots right now. Reserve them for the best contest on DraftKings, completely rake-free, all of the Pat Mayo Experience contests, so please go get in those right now. Smash a like while you're here as well, and give me your favorite sleeper play of the week down in the comment section. Tambo, you ready to win some money this week? I feel good about this week. I don't know why.
We're just checking to see how many more withdrawals we got here. If you go coming in, Hank Lebioda right off the top from the top rope. So yeah, it's been a busy week, but definitely like this one. You know, it's a preview week before a major. Kind of a lull period for some, but we know sometimes that means lazy weeks, and we're going to try and get to the bottom of that with ownership and whatnot.
Well, in terms of ownership, it's going to be difficult this week because of the WDs, with Spieth being out and being factored into the pricing already. Like, the top five guys are just going to draw an incredible amount of ownership no matter how much you shake it. So you're going to have to bite the bullet on one of these guys.
Did you like Spieth coming into the week?
No, I didn't.
See, this is what bothers me, is that it would have kept Scotty at least in check, and Hatton would have been much lower. And now we do kind of run into, it's not the same situation field size. Talked to this on Monday on Fantasy Golf Degenerates, but with the Rahm Finau ownership situation in Mexico, I think we just see that at the top with Scotty Hatton, and then it'll get spaced out in other areas. But I definitely do think we see something like 45-25, give or take, up top.
I do appreciate that we used Wyndham Clark in the one and done in Mexico, and then he wins the next week.
Thank you.
That's never fun.
Yeah, thanks, Wyndham.
Thanks for nothing, pal.
Yeah, it's really
I didn't even use him last week. I thought it was like, I'll use this guy who's right next to him and this guy who's right next to him. Probably just should have used him.
Yeah, I ended up using Xander in one of mine. But funny enough, the one that I've been trying to do so well in is up in like the top 200. The other one is starting to catch it now because I didn't have Xander in that one, so I kind of moved it up from there. But it was a decent week for him in second, at least getting a couple $1 million.
Okay, if you can hit a top like 5 in one of these elevated events, you're going to be good to go.
Oh yeah,
in terms of the one and done. So here's my betting card for the week. I added Tom Kim the moment that I saw that Spieth withdrew.
What number did you get him at?
22.
Oh, nice.
So I had to go beat the books because I knew that everyone was just going to get smashed down.
I think that I didn't see many get bigger than 25 on him anyway, so 22 is not bad.
I didn't see the 25. Even when we did the show on Monday, we were already at 20 or 22.
Okay.
And I was like, well, if Spieth isn't going to be there, he's going to be like 16. I believe that's what he is at DraftKings Sportsbook right now, is 16-1. So I added Tom Kim. That was just a late ad to try to get another name at the top before the odds got slashed by 40% or whatever it might be. But I did bet Hideki at 27. Adam Scott at 35, Bez at 70 with 5 places, Sam Stevens 80 at 5 places, and then threw 2 bombs on nasty Nate Lashley at 125-1 with the top 5, and my guy Carson Young 275-1 with 5 places. First round leader went back to that market this week. Bez and the Smother Man 66 and 80, and I played Carson Young again at 175-1 with 5 places. I used Adam Scott in the one and done. Jeff has Tom Kim, and Cust has K.H. Lee.
Damn, is this Scott thing going to go down here? Because I'm on him as well. I bet him. I got him in one and done marked for my main right now, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But I was going to ask you, too, the other guy you said there. Tom Kim. Do you have him at the PGA Championship? Are you protecting your PGA Championship bets this week?
I have one PGA Championship bet, and it's Keegan Bradley, 125-1.
I remember that one from before. I just wasn't sure if you had the hundreds on Tom Kim.
No, I would like to have the hundreds on Tom Kim. Now, in retrospect, when I think about it,
yeah,
that'd be nice, but I don't.
I'm happy to have them. I don't know how it's going to come through, but I hope he has a good week this week, finds something, and then carries it over. But the other one you said, Lashley, I only got 100 on him, so that's a good number for you.
Yeah, he was at a place that's open every day of the year, let's say. They hung a 125 on him on Monday. I was like, I'm in. People are going to be.
I think I was too late on it. I think people got in on it because I got it at 8 places at 100, but yeah.
Well, 8 places they shrink it down.
They do in most cases too. Anyway, I'm saying, yeah, but I mean, I thought the other one existed before, but I just missed it. So either way, good number. I got Brandon Wu as well, 70.
Oh, Brandon Wu.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about Adam Scott right now, actually, before we dig into everything. Yeah. I mean, there's a very clear path to how he doesn't do well this week. He finally hit his irons well for the first time in like 3 months last week and ended up inside the top 5. If he just reverts back to the guy who can't hit an approach shot, he's going to fucking suck.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. But I mean, my biggest thing on him, that's why I liked him even to start the week. And I don't think he was going to be popular. Now it looks like he's pushing somewhere 12 to 15 range, which isn't crazy. Who cares? But I'm just saying the strength of field factor. We talked about this plenty, you know, like in past of guys where it's like he shows up last week in a pretty strong field. People give him shit all the time. Oh, 31st, 29th. You want top 30. If you want a 30th at Adam Scott, play him. But they forget that those are in like the API, the Masters, these top-end tournaments. Now he comes to an event like this, and I think it's going to be a lot better for him, and the price could actually be argued that it's kind of fair. Maybe Ricky Fowler-esque, if you will, of last week, who was 8,800 and still came through and got another top 20.
He did. I think there's a distinct difference between what Ricky Fowler's pricing was last week and what Adam Scott's pricing is this week. Like, he's only $9,200. Mm-hmm. But then you start to look at the players behind him, and that was the big case with Ricky last week. When you started to look at the players behind him in the pricing, you're like, oh, those guys are better than Ricky Fowler. When you look at them this week with Adam Scott, like, who are the guys that are better than Adam Scott?
Yeah, it's not much.
Like Mav McNeely?
Who knows? Taylor Montgomery, maybe. But
is he going to gain 8 strokes putting? Because if he is, he's going to be really good. If he doesn't gain 8 strokes putting, he's going to miss the cut.
Can turn into a putting contest.
He's can.
Really good scorer, too, for DraftKings scoring. He doesn't have to come.
But he doesn't do – he's lost – on approach in 4 straight. He's lost off the tee in 3 straight. At least earlier in the year when he was having these great putting performances. He was like doing some other things. Yeah. He's doing none of those things anymore.
Yeah, I used to have to argue for that. That was the thing. Everyone knows it was the putter, but I was always saying, well, at least he's doing some of this and some of that. It's not like the guy's horrible. You can't just come top 20 on tour every week without everything. Oh, yeah, the putter's a big part of it, but just in general, I would say that. And now it's like you just said, tough to find a case besides the fact that we might see some ownership stay in check on him. Like it looks under sub 10% is fine at that price, I think.
Yeah, you would end up having to do like a game theory play on him because the ownership is coming down. But to even to go back and look, again, fantasynational.com/Mayo, make it easy on yourself, to his run at the beginning of the year with all the top 15s, the top 5s. Like he gained 11 strokes putting one week, 5, 6, 6, 5, 8, 7, whatever it might be. But he was also gaining 3.5 off the tee, 4 off the tee, a little bit around the greens. Now it's just a sea of red in everywhere outside putting. In the last 2 events that he's played, the Heritage and the Wells Fargo, granted, both elevated events, playing against the best in the world, so it's a little bit more difficult. He lost strokes putting one week marginally, gained marginally the other weeks, missed the cut in both. Like he just, if he's not gaining all the strokes, which he can do, this we know, so you're betting on that sort of week. Like,
we should just play Jimmy Walker for cheap.
I was going to say, I mean, yes.
He gains it all with the putter, too.
So. He's kind of looking a little bit, like stat-wise, as crazy as this sounds, like like a bad version of Denny McCarthy. Who, next week, by the way, kind of like Denny.
Would you play Denny if he was here?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
I think it's a perfect Denny event.
So we're going to play him, Taylor Montgomery. Perfect. You just made the case for it.
Yeah, but I said he's the bad Taylor or the bad Denny McCarthy right now.
But if he was Denny McCarthy's name, you would play it and just go with it.
Yeah, but Denny McCarthy's numbers look better than this.
That's true.
Denny McCarthy isn't losing 7 strokes on approach.
I'm going to play Taylor Montgomery. I like it.
Okay.
And that it's just mainly like what you said too is like, again, you started with the Scott conversation, which I think makes sense because it's not much behind him. Your boy Siwoo. You got Matt Kuchar. There's some guys, people like Seamus Power. But when you go down, you are making cases for guys like Jaeger's going to be popular. Who do you like? Wise coming back from, he took off the Masters for the mental health stuff. And
I would rather gamble on Wise at 83 than play Montgomery.
I'm playing both, so I don't know how to say that, but I do like both here.
Yeah, I like Wise better than I like Montgomery if I'm going to take a just random shot. But I'm also playing a ton of Hideki too. Yeah. And that's going to be – because I feel like his injury in time off is factored into his price. Like $9,800 seems like it's super expensive. He should be more – based on the play that he had before the injury going into the Masters and even including the Masters, he was playing great.
Yeah, he seems fine, and the price is fair. Like you said, Best Buy pricing back on Hideki, $9,800. You can get in on it, so I don't mind that. And people are going to Tom Kim there for sure. You talked about the betting market hitting him up so hard. It's definitely a good spot for him. It makes sense, but when the ownership comes that way, I don't know what we'll see. Like last week, Cam Young, I don't know if we were expecting 40% in some places on a Cam Young. Popular bet, popular thought, popular talking piece. And
almost
now you've got
beat by Carson Young
Almost did.
Almost.
And Ricky did beat his ass at 8,800. So for $100 more, even though, but he's better below him, Ricky got him. So I don't know. The Hideki one makes sense. The Scott one I like. What do you think ends up actually happening before we go to one and done with KH Lee? Because that's another conversation. The fact that he's literally won here the last 2 years.
I think he's going to be popular.
Yeah. So I've got 15% right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing between 15 and 17% on KH Lee, which I think is a fair price for a guy. I mean, you can say the course history doesn't matter. There's something about this course that fits his eye. Either he can read the greens perfectly or whatever it might be. Whenever he hits his drives, he gets to his exact spot every single time. But it's really hard to overlook a guy who has won this 2 years in a row.
And played well last week.
And cursed, though.
Oh, it's perfect. Good. I was looking for a reason.
There's your reason.
All right. Who did you say he had? Is that who he has in one and done?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. Okay, I was just too focused in when you said Adam Scott, and I got excited because that's who I have. But let's talk.
KH Lee, by the way. Or not KH Lee. Cuss, by the way. Winning the one and done currently in our 3-man by like a pretty substantial margin. Yeah. So pretty good year for the Ender Curse at the moment. I wanted to talk about the weather.
Oh, that's right.
Beforehand as well. Because it looks like there's a ton of rain Saturday. Overnight Friday into Saturday. Then it clears up sometime in the afternoon. And then there's like a minimal amount on Sunday. Do you think that there's a chance? I mean, there's always a chance that stuff like this gets pushed. But a week before a major, guys are going to stick it out, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do this every time.
Yeah. And guys
they don't. Honestly, this is like the late withdraw thing where I know it's annoying and it's painful, and if it happens, it sucks. And then you'll say, oh, I knew this could happen. We were saying, no, we played this game forever. How many times do we make this stuff up and then it doesn't happen? Or there's no way Ricky or Scott or Jordan Spieth are going to play well the week before a major and they're up there at the top of the leaderboard. Spieth's winning it. All these factors. Like, yeah, I know he's just getting ready, and part of getting ready is he'll take a win right before. It just is what it is. People take their wins when they can get them.
Yeah, they want to win.
They want to win. It doesn't matter whether they're here. It's an awesome opportunity. It locks in money. It locks in points. It locks in everything. They want to win. It's a spot they can win. They're going out to play to win. I don't know. If it does get fully delayed on Saturday, it's not ideal, but that matters more. Again, how did they play on the first couple of days? And that's the only time we've seen it.
And the first 2 days look super windy.
Yeah, it's always that way in Texas.
Yeah. Like, you're just going to get periodic gusts, and it doesn't seem to be any sort of wave advantage unless you get guys that are like the very first players on the course on Thursday look like they might get the best of it, but even that is like a 2-hour window, so they're going to end up in the shit anyway. They don't get to play their whole round in decent weather.
That's what I mean. One thing I will say, though, in Texas, you can definitely always stack both waves.
Yeah.
If you got the 150 and you want to do it, it definitely happens in the past where you've seen some pretty heavy advantages shake out because this is just the forecast right now or the night you're doing it before, which is best tonight. Look at it again. But even then, if you go all in on a side, it can definitely flip in a heartbeat. It's Texas. So I always look at both sides for the weather on this, but nothing spectacular that stands out up front here.
Want to give away some money for next week?
I'm already giving away some, but I would always love to give away more. Well, what do you got?
We'll check on the prize. Well, I was trying to think about how much money I should be giving away. Maybe that's what people can comment. How much money should Pat give the viewers this week for the PGA Championship? They'll probably say
Pat should nudge
$1 million.
Yeah, they want the 4444 ticket, the big dog, because Pat should talk about getting us the $100 back. That's what we need Pat to do. The community is sad. There is a $25 Millie Maker, and then if you can get it there, $4,444, no in between. We want the $100 back. That's the fun one. 25,000, 29,000 people. You can get 15 entries in there and feel okay about it or whatever. If you whatever you want to do with your bankroll. I'm just saying that's one that we're missing this week.
I'm surprised.
I don't know why they just didn't run it.
I saw the live finals back.
Yep, it's at the 3M Open. Yep.
What a fun, bizarre tournament to have the finals of the World Championships. Play Michael Thompson.
Yeah, and
who I like this week, and he withdrew.
Yeah, it's tough scene. It's like it's a certified birdie fest leading up to it. It's like I think it's like John Deere Classic, Rocket Mortgage, whatever order those go, and then 3M Open to round it out. But I guess what they wanted to do, they get complaints no matter what, but what they wanted to do with it is get people at a full field event. Even though I loved I don't love the 3 rounds personally. I know not many do, but what I did like about last year and the way they've been doing it, like last year's 125 man top field. It was the Memphis Willie Z win.
Hey,
right when I was down there I went for it. I didn't make the finals. Like I went out in round 2, but had a good week down there for that on DraftKings, and it was like you're getting 125 of the best in the world. It's still a semi full field. It's not all the way, but it's pretty good. And so I don't know. I still think that would have been better than 3M Open, but who cares? It's a trip. You're going down 40 people to play for $1 million.
If we're just spending money, just do the live final at the Open.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I'd love that.
That would be awesome.
People would love that. That would be nuts. I don't feel like they're trying to spend that much money, and who knows what it is.
Or do it at the Canadian Open then.
Yeah, no one wants that. We want that, but I don't think people want to go to Canada.
Honestly, if you had to go on a live experience to a city, would you rather go to Minneapolis or Toronto?
I don't want to say too many rude things because there's a lot of people in the PGA DFS space that
I've been to Minneapolis a bunch of times. I went there for the Super Bowl. I love the city. It's great.
Yeah.
Toronto's a better city.
Yeah, that's where I was going to say. They'll say bias, but I would just say that myself too. So,
I mean, but maybe that's my bias coming into it as well. Like if someone said, "Hey, you can go to Dallas, Texas for a live final, or New York City," I'd pick New York.
Okay, yeah.
I'd probably pick New York over any place in the States.
Yeah, I guess I'll tell you what. Last year,
I love being in New York.
One thing about Memphis is not the safest place. We were down there for the event last year. Like you're coming out of the nicest restaurant that DK is putting you up in, steakhouse, everything, and the guy at the door for valet basically is like, "Just so you know, these red dots over here are where people got killed recently. So stay out of that area." I was like, Jesus, okay, we'll stay out of that area. Get the Uber right back to the hotel and the bar by the hotel. We'll stay safe.
Are you going to qualify for the Live live final?
Yeah, imagine. The Live final? No. There is Live event this week.
You're going to go to Rod or whatever it is. Yeah, Live Tulsa.
Yeah.
I didn't even really look at it.
Taylor Gooch. Everyone's focused on KH Lee going for the three-peat.
Gooch going for the three-peat?
Gooch is going for it.
Tim has already told me, I was playing golf with him the other day, that Gooch is making his final three for the PGA Championship.
That's perfect. Pricing should be out soon.
Yeah, we're doing a show. We're recording it Thursday night, me, Kenny, and Ben.
Nice.
And then you and I will go again next Wednesday. And then you and Kenny are going to be on Monday. And maybe we'll have some showdown shows back up for next week as well for the year's second major. And then we'll start getting rolling back on showdown again. But it's going to be just a jam-packed week. The problem is I was going to release the show on Friday, but NFL schedule release on Thursday. We got to do a live show that night with me, Cuss, and Jeff. Cuss is already, he's not allowed to look at the schedule.
Oh, okay. Before
we record the show. But he saw like the international games already came out, so he's like already tilted.
Yeah, the Ravens got one this year.
Oh, where at?
I think it's in London, week 6, and I think they're playing Titans.
You should go.
No, I don't. I do want to get over there. We talked about it last night, but not. I don't think that'll be the case to go over for that game.
Well, I know that there's a direct flight from here to Frankfurt.
Yep.
Crazily enough, but I don't know when it's only seasonal, so I don't know when it ends. If it's like still available the week that the Frankfurt game is going on, why not?
Pat live from Frankfurt.
Yeah, we'll have a Frankfurt gather up. All the Yahoo friends of the Pat Mayo experience.
You got the numbers in the back end too.
Big in Germany.
The listenership, yeah, exactly.
Big in Germany, so that helps out.
All right,
one and done.
Oh man, go ahead, one and done.
We're fucked.
We're so far
whoever
behind.
we pick sucks. We had such a streak of whoever we picked was so good. Now whoever we picked is horrible.
It was the turning point, man. It was Rom we were literally in first
place.
If Rom does his job, has the opening round of this, just anything you could ask for. It's the perfect setup, and then all downhill from there.
Adam Scott, we have him. We don't have Hatton, Scheffler, Tom Kim, or Hideki.
I was going to ask about Hideki. Okay, we don't
have those four. So we have Day, Cooch, Power, Siwoo, Scott, Hoagie, Minwoo, your boy Montgomery, Benny Ann. We can play Bezaden out.
What about Day or Cooch? Well, we can talk about them because I think they're going to be something that translates over later. Anyway, again, there's only so many options from DraftKings perspective once you decide on the Scotty Hatton stuff and then go down. So these guys will come up anyway, but for one and done, just to have the conversation. I like Scott, obviously. We're both using him, so we could literally just triple down. But it's triple down week. We should just bet the double, by the way. Gooch, KH Lee double for a triple. Kind of. That'd be interesting. But talk to me about Day and talk to me about Kuchar. Your thoughts on those two guys. Day mentioning the vertigo stuff, I think has people a little bit scared. And then Kuchar, everyone just he's old, he's dust, he can't do anything. Well, but he has been doing things.
Like I say, if you go look at who's gained the most strokes overall over the past 3 months, Kuch is inside the top 10 right now, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe Day wasn't talking about his vertigo. Maybe he was listening to that U2 album.
Yeah, he mentioned that he went back to and even kind of doubled down on it, said he didn't want to talk about it from the Masters or something, but he had it a little bit there for a round also, I guess. And then it sparked up again on him, or whatever the two tournaments were in a row he mentioned it for. One of them he had that people didn't know about. But the interesting part on Kuchar, 12th and 17th here the last 2 years, and his run right now is Ricky Fowler-esque. Well, 23rd, 19th, 3rd, and 16th, the last four.
The last time I decided to back Cooch, and like felt good about it was at Honda, which I think is the one tournament that he's had has been terrible. He went miscut Honda and players. Other than that, you're right. Like even at Genesis, and I think Tom Jacobs was the one who pointed this out, that when you look at, it's very small sample, obviously 2 years, but a lot of the guys that have played well at Riv over the years have just popped up on this leaderboard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't hate it. It's not just Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth, like the good players who play in this tournament. Like Cageley also plays really well at Riviera too. James Hahn
plays pretty well.
Adam Scott plays really well. But James Hahn won this event at this course in 2012 when it was on the Corn Ferry Tour. Had a top 10 here a year ago as well. So let's just click on Riv. See who did well at Riv.
Yeah, do that.
Pick one of those guys.
I have interest in Kuchar though there. I'd be fine going with him over Scott if you want a little bit of hedge life there and try something different.
Kuch was the best player at Riviera this year who is in the field this week. Jason Day is actually second.
Oh, wow. And it's the two guys we were just talking about.
Is Harris English playing? I really wanted to play him this week. I don't think he's playing.
No.
Power and Hoagie would be next. I have interest in Power, only because he's been terrible.
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone... He was 18th last week, played pretty well. But
it's hard to gauge his ownership, too, because the stuff that's around him, like I said, if you go above, there's the guys that people are definitely on, and then it looks like more people have interest in, like, the Hoagies, the Minwoos, the Jaggers. Of course, Jager's going to be very popular, I think, so we'll have to wait and see how that shakes out, but I definitely think Seamus could get at least squeezed a little bit, but it looks like right now, somewhere in the 10 to 15, put a little wider range on it.
Siwoo? One and done?
See the Mackenzie Hughes quote tweet today?
It was great.
That's hilarious. It's definitely so true also, and it's just funny, but I mean, just all the things you think about, and so, I think someone else said this makes total sense. It definitely does. You know, Siwoo's a mess sometimes on the course, but I don't know. Siwoo would be interesting too. What's his stuff look like? I mean, again,
he's Siwoo. He's Siwoo-esque. It's just none of it matters.
Yeah.
Like even last week, he had 4 completely isolated different rounds. He was great the first 2 days and couldn't make a putt. Then he couldn't chip somehow in the 3rd round. Then it just felt like he didn't even try in the final round.
Yeah, he'd be on the list too. I don't know. I feel like Scott may be getting a little too popular if you and I are both on him. So I kind of want to go with like Day, Kuchar, or Siwoo.
Let's go with Siwoo.
All right.
I think he'll be the lesser owned of those 3 guys that you mentioned.
Should be.
He should be. Now that we've talked about it, I mean, people don't want to take who we take, so that shouldn't help in any sort of fashion.
Day will probably be less popular too with the Vertigo stuff, but I don't know. I guess he's still. When are people saving these guys for?
Yeah, this is a place to burn whoever. Like I'm just looking at some of my other ones. I have Hideki and Hatton. I mean, really should just play Hatton at elevated events. Guy comes top 5 every single time.
Yeah, he does. And you got to play him while he's a little bit hot. Like, at least he was okay. You know, 3rd, T3. Blew the all for under 70 on the 18th hole last week. 72nd hole for him, yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, bogey on the last. So, cost some people big money and 5 points on DraftKings. But, yeah, he's playing good right now, too. I don't have him. I think I used him. I can't remember where I used him. Where was he last? Was he in Mexico?
Who?
Hatton.
No. We used him at Valero.
Oh, okay. That's probably why.
The week before a major. Didn't work out.
Oh, well. Won't use him this time either. We'll use him on DraftKings instead.
Siwoo Kim is our one and done selection for the week. Once again, please play in the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League. Both of them for the PGA Championship and the Byron Nelson. Rake free, 3 max entry, $15 to play. Best tournaments on DraftKings, both down in the description right now, so please go do that. And all the final notes, bets, the tidbits from Tambo, everything like that is going to be in the Mayo Media newsletter later on this afternoon, and we'll have one on Sunday as well next week because it's a major week, but completely free to join. And if you're a sub, you're already in the draw for whatever amount of money that we're giving away next week, so you probably want to go do that, please, or Mayo Media on Substack if you're just Googling it. Oh, DraftKings-wise, can I tell you my lineup? I'll tell you my lineup, then you tell me your lineup, and we'll go off from there.
Okay. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. What do you got?
Exactly. Hideki, Tom Kim, Adam Scott. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
This is the non-Scheffler portion of the lineups.
I'll bring that one in a second.
And then I went Carson Young and Nate Lashley with Ben Griffin.
So, Nasty Nate and Ben Griffin.
So 3 9s, 2 7s, and a 6.
All right. And then mine that has yours by
50 points?
No, not quite. 28 points.
I can try to guess yours. Does it start with Scheffler or no?
Yes.
It does? Okay, let's see if I can build your lineup. Scheffler.
I have one of your same guys.
One of my same guys. All right. Give me a sec here. I got to really think this through.
You will literally never get this lineup.
Oh, really? It's that different?
I don't know if it's not like too contrarian. I just don't think you're going to get it, but let's hear.
I'm just trying to, how off the board is it? Like,
not really. Like I said, it's got 28 points on yours, and your lineup's not bad. So it's good players. It's just I don't think they're the spots you think I'll land.
All right. So we'll go Scheffler, Brandon Wu.
Nope.
Dylan Wu.
Nope. Can I give you one hint that might help?
Yes.
The second guy in, this is why you'll never get it, is Adam Hadwin. And he's my second most expensive guy.
The second guy in is Adam Hadwin.
So everyone else is less than him.
So, okay, so you have a 7,500 for your final 4 spots?
Yeah, and I've got one guy the same as you.
All right, so let's see here. Sam Stevens?
Nope.
Michael Kim?
Nope.
Eric Cole?
Nope.
Ben Griffin?
Yes, that's the same guy I have as you.
All right. There's no way I'm getting this. Then Bez?
No. I'll give you the rest. Stallings, Rye, Schenk.
Okay. Why is, I guess, my question.
Yeah, just looking at the areas, like going down, I'll look at them again here, but just to see, like, so Brandon Wu, I love him. I bet him. Super popular. Stallings, $100 less. I think he's the same guy on paper. Like, it just rates out the same for me with, like, no ownership at all. So I'm good with him there. I actually like Bramlett above, but Bramlett was getting a little bit later. And Hadwin was the Jagger pivot up there. I'm just fine moving off him. You don't have to do this. It's just why I was looking at it. I like Ben Griffin. I think others do too. So, I've talked about this strategy on the show sometimes. Just picking people will decide maybe between a Ben Griffin, a Justin Suh, or an Aaron Rye. I'm just playing both of them. I like Aaron Rye. So Ben Griffin and Aaron Rye go together. I just play them as a combo. And then who's the last guy I said to you? Oh, Schenk.
Wow, Ben Griffin's been really bad.
Make birdies. Schenk. 7,300. I don't know. Your guy Higo is there. You like him?
I do.
Yeah, of course. I get it. Like I said, that's fine. Yeah, I like some of the guys below too. Like I can move pieces around in this and make it more chalky if I wanted to. There's lots of 2v2s off this lineup, so that's why I kind of like it too as a starting point. But I just wanted to see what my sort of best under-owned with a little bit of ownership in there looked like with Scotty. And that's what I got to. So
looking at it right now in terms of ownership, if we try to figure out who the chalkiest guys are going to be. So this is the biggest disconnect. What would you say Scheffler's ownership ends up being? 40%? Because what I'm seeing on Fantasy National right now, that the calculated ownership projection is 23%. But I'm looking at the actual number of lineups he's been generated in, and it's 45%.
Yeah.
So there's a disconnect there somewhere.
The range is 40 to 50, and you have to put the bigger one this week because twofold. One, the Spieth situation, I think before that he was really going to get kept in check. Like we might have seen him get capped at 35 at that point. The other factor too, Pat, is that the way people are talking about it, if you're listening just around the industry, reading all the stuff I do, all these factors, it's almost like people are looking for a reason to get off Scheffler late. Will they? No. He'll be the highest owned by a decent margin. But what I'm saying is that it's more, people sometimes, don't think of it this way, but this is how I do, is like it's a disconnect of what should he be at from everything you're thinking and hearing versus what he ends up getting capped to a number. Like if he's at 40, that's probably low for what he could be. I think he's much higher to top 5 this tournament, which if he top 5s, he's going to be optimal. So, or likely to be optimal. And it's also what's behind him. Not much. We talked about this earlier. There is a little bit better names than what Rahm saw in Mexico with Rahm and Finau. But realistically, even Hatton to me is a massive drop off from Scotty Scheffler. It's just what Scotty shows up. And that's the argument people are trying to make to talk themselves out of it, where they're saying the week before a major, he's just showing up because it's Texas. It's a birdie fest. Everything gets, set up in the way where it doesn't matter as much because, if he doesn't make all the birdies, he's not going to keep up with them. And that's why we'll see these results and so everything that goes with it so they can make a case against him.
So I made a case against him too because I had to write him up for Golf Digest as he was my betting favorite of the week. And he was just like, wow, I don't want to bet a guy at 2.5 to 1 to win a golf tournament. That was essentially the case. But what is the case that he doesn't win this tournament? It's that he putts like he's been doing for the past month or so. Just guy can't make a 3-foot putt. It's tough to win at minus 25 if you're not making the easy ones along the way. Conversely to that, though, the reason that I am playing him this week is that even if he loses 3 strokes putting, he's still going to come 10th. So if he just beats minus 3 putting, he's probably going to win.
That's definitely a good argument. Well, I think I actually think this week we will see people lock him. So I don't lock guys, but I'm saying there's a case to be made for it, especially with those numbers that we just utilized. But I will just say in general, we will see people be heavily overweight and some lock him this week because of that. There is enough guys. You have over 7,600 left. You don't have to love the 6K range to make it work. You can love the bottom of the 7Ks. You can love a guy in the 8K. Like I started mine with Hadwin and then got 4 guys in the 7s. I didn't even touch 6s. And there's like a million 2v2s there that we were looking at or could look at. Lastly, Pat, I'll just say this, is if you look at Scotty here, question marks. Okay, Hatton looks pretty solid, I'll admit. Matsuyama?
I'm fading Hatton full out.
Okay, so
no
that's your. So there's a question mark. If you're willing to fade him, there has to be a reason. So we don't have to get into just saying in general. So there's the Hatton.
There's nothing really against it. Just if I'm going to pick and choose between what I want to do this week,
or that
I prefer Hideki over Hatton, just because I think that Hideki is better suited for this course, and I do think that he probably ends up coming in. Now it looks like it's going to be about the same. But initially, when I went into it, it's like, oh, people are going to be off of Hideki because of the injury. But it just saves me a little bit of money because I do want to play Scheffler. I want to play Hideki. So no Hatton, no Day, no KH Lee for me.
Okay, and that's what I was going to say. And if you go look to it, just what I have for ownership, I feel like is pretty decent. Here, the 9K range is still getting loaded up with the 15 to 25% range, depending if you want to put Tom Kim as high as 25. Even if you don't, and put him at like 20 to 23 range, he's probably the highest in here. But Hideki's still getting some. Day is getting some. KH Lee's definitely getting some. Adam Scott, people are coming on too late. Siwoo, not so much. Kuchar will get some. And then even the high eights like Power looks to be mixing it in a little bit. But the 8K range is going overlooked. So what that tells me is people going off of Scheffler are saying, I'm going to go against Scheffler and I'm going to either start with Hatton or sneaky. Not really, but I get it.
Start with Hideki.
3 9K guys or whatever. It's like, okay, I get why it makes sense. It's not saying it's not a good play. I'm saying it's not super sneaky. And at the end of the day, where Scheffler can finish T15, but a bunch of those 9Ks bust, it may still be a Scheffler lineup when the 7K guys are scoring like crazy and the 8K guy that comes through ends up being the winner, for example. Let's say. You could see that.
So Scheffler hasn't finished worse than 12th in any event this year since the CJ Cup last year, when he finished 45th, and he had come second and third before that. So even at the Tour Championship a year ago, came second, lost 3.5 strokes putting. At the Players' Championship this year, you may recall that he won that event. He broke even with the field putting. Like, if he just putts around even. Now, if he putts around even this week, I don't think he's going to win because this course is too easy. Right. That someone is going to be good enough to beat those numbers. Because at Tee to Green at the Players, he just trumped everyone because it's a hard course. Like, if you can go the entire week and not make a double bogey at TPC Sawgrass, like, you're going to be in really good shape because other guys are going to do that. So I don't think this is a tournament that you're going to win breaking even. Like, Heritage is one where you could break even and win because your Tee to Green game could just be so good, generate so many opportunities, and not blow up anywhere. There's just not a lot of blow-up spots at this course. So if you're making par on one of the easy par fives or missing those short eagle putts, other people are just going to make them. It's not like you're the only person who had the opportunity to do this. So if he gains 2 strokes putting this week, I think he wins. Yeah. So you're just betting against that.
And again, I keep going back to this one. It's not the same, but just going back to the Mexico factor again, like, it wasn't like Rahm was hot at it. Like, it wasn't like the best thing since sliced bread when it started off, and then he still ends up coming in second, trailing to Finau. But again, that's the example here where you could see it again. Like, there's a case to be made. What if Hideki's neck flares up again? What if Tom Kim doesn't come through as chalk? What if Day has the vertigo stuff again? What if KH Lee doesn't go back to back to back or be in the mix because of that? It was just 2 great years. Scott, you already talked about the ways he can fail. Siwoo, we literally just talked about those 4 rounds. I don't have to name them all. That is almost all of them, and it's Kuchar. That's enough said. So it's like there is a way where he can still be in the mix where his 12th is still very involved in DraftKings scoring and very involved in the winning lineups.
And that seems like worst case scenario.
Yeah.
There's
a best case too.
We just laid out the worst case scenario where he's still a good play.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lock him in either, but I'll probably play like 75%.
And that'll be good, I think.
I would think so. And this is the first time he's playing a non-elevated event since the American Express in January, where he played poorly and came 11th.
Yeah, I can't remember too. I think he definitely tops the Texas list, right? As well, playing in Texas.
What do you mean?
Like, if you can go look up the stats of guys that play well in Texas, and he already, again, obviously a native and all these factors, but I'm saying he just dominates, and now he gets to see that Spieth exits the tournament. Unfortunate news with the wrist injury and whatnot, but just to say, like you said, these guys are here to win. He's going to go win in Texas if he can, and that's what he's going to try and do.
Never won in Texas on the PGA Tour.
Oh, imagine. Wants to add it to the resume.
Got to get it in. Adam Scott, I believe, has won every Texas tournament.
Adam Scott's in his career. Adam Scott's going to crush.
He's going to crush our souls, probably.
Probably.
This is the first tournament he ever played in, too, Scotty Scheffler. 2014. Came 22nd at the Byron Nelson. I think that's the year that Brendan Todd beat Mike Weir.
You think he's a different golfer now?
No, same guy. It was the year Brendan Todd beat Mike Weir. What a year. Wow. Listen to this leaderboard.
Let's hear it.
Todd, Weir, CH3, Leishman, Boo Weekly. James Hahn, top 5.
Boo.
Then you got Dustin and Graham DeLette.
Oh,
What a time. John Sendin? Sendin the birdies?
Yeah.
Charlie Belgin? Sean Stephanie. That guy used to be Mr. First Round. The 2 first-round leaders I used to love to bet, Sean Stephanie and Morgan Hoffman.
I call him Sean Stefani. Nice.
Gwen's brother?
Yeah.
Morgan Hoffman cashed me a serious first-round leader at API one time. I remember he was in the mix, and I was flying from Toronto to New York, and I got off the plane and was like streaming it on my phone. And he chipped in from that stupid bunker on 18 at API for birdie to get the first-round lead. It was the greatest. Things like this used to happen to me. They don't happen anymore.
Is he still drinking piss?
I think so.
Last I saw, he was hanging out with Berger, though. Speaking of which, Berger should be coming back soon.
I think he might be on the Anthony Kim plan.
You think?
Right now. We might never see Berger again.
He just keeps saying he's coming back and showing like a single practice swing or whatever. I'm like, all
sure.
right, when?
Or he might just have this huge insurance policy taken out on himself and like, hey, I'll get paid to live money to sit at home.
Yeah, I thought he was going to live originally because last time we saw him, he was hanging out with DJ and Paulina out on the boat having some drinks.
I think they all live. I think he lives.
Oh, they all live
like directly
there, yeah.
next door to
Probably
DJ.
does. I mean, they're all in that area, so it's kind of interesting. But just I thought that was the sail away tour for him.
So let's build some different versions of the Scheffler lineup.
All right, let's do it.
What do you have Hadwin as your second man in? But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say you want to use someone else who you perceive to actually be good. Adam Scott, let's say.
I already clicked him. We're on the same wavelength. There we go.
Scheffler Scott, $7,200. What do we do from here? Because I like Carson Young, and it's not just me. The numbers actually do support Carson Young this week.
Oh, man.
Past 8 rounds, second best player in this field, Carson Young, only behind Scotty.
He almost did beat Cam last week, too. He just didn't make the cut. It was right there, though.
He missed the cut on the night. He got green miled at the end.
Yeah. What if we do this? You can go like Young. You can still get your Nasty Nate. You can get your Smotherman in. What's that leave us?
How much is Smotherman?
71.
It's a pretty good price.
So you get 7,900 left. You can land on Joey B. Bramlett, or you can go Brandon Wu.
I'm going to say you can almost get to Bez. How owned is Bez going to be? 20%? Or is it just
20%? Who likes Bez? I
bet Bez.
I have him sub 10%.
This is a great Bez week.
All right. Interesting.
Easy course. Make some putts.
Yeah. I'll tag him up just for you on my stuff.
Thank you.
But I don't think people like him. So if you're worried about ownership,
I wasn't worried about it.
Okay.
I just saw clicking on Fantasy National. He's another one of those that has a huge gap between what the projected ownership is and how many times he's actually been generated. It's like 8% projected ownership, 22% generation percentage.
Let me ask you this then, because instead of going Brandon Wu or Joseph Bramlett with Nate Lashley, do you like Jimmy Walker or Ryan Palmer or any of those guys at 7,100?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
I kind of like Palmer.
I like Chuck Hoffman.
Yeah, he might be a better play than Jimmy Walker, just in hope that he shows up in Texas like he always does. Jimmy does too, but I'm saying if people are watching the Jimmy tracker, we'll tell you right now it's gaining like 4-stroke putting, 5-stroke putting every week.
And Hoffman's the exact opposite. In his past 2 events, he's gained 8 strokes tee to green, 5 strokes tee to green, and dude can't make a fucking putt to save his life. Maybe going back to Texas, the putter can come back.
JJ Spawn WD too, so
yeah.
Bez maybe gets a little bit of that, but I don't see it, man. I see like 7 to 10 on Bez. So this lineup's actually interesting, though, if you could get there.
So
I know you don't like Palmer, but Scotty. Oh, yeah, by the way, that was the name of our podcast this week. Adam Scotty Scheffler.
I saw that.
Adam Scotty Scheffler. So you put those two, Carson Young, your boy, Bez, your other guy, your first-round leader, Austin Smo.
I had Bez first-round leader, too, and Cam Young. This is a great showdown lineup, if nothing else.
And then we can I put Ryan Palmer.
I put Hoffman.
But how much is Hoffman?
71.
Oh, same price, yeah.
So Scheffler, Scott, Hoffman, Smotherman, Carson Young, and Bez. I assume that does not rate out very well.
No, it doesn't. But again, this is pretty unique setup because you have, you got one 6K guy in Young, but you don't have really any of those guys I was talking about in the 9K that would get any ownership in this spot from what we were talking about before. You're skipping over Hatton, skipping over the Tom Kim love, Jason Day and Kuchar picking up some based on projections, KH Lee on the back-to-back, all those factors there, and then Adam Scott getting some late sneaky love because we like him and other people like him that are talking about him this week based on other things. So I think that's where we only have Scott of the bunch, and then we get different elsewhere.
So I'm just trying to factor this in now. So out of the 6K guys, I have 2 selected at the moment that I actually do like. And Lucas Glover I keep looking at because the numbers, they're Charlie Hoffman-esque. Tee to green, very good. Dude cannot putt. He's gained over 2 strokes on approach in each of his past 4 starts. He's missed the cut in 3 of those.
Right. So if you go Scott Young,
Scott Young,
go Glover. And I was going to bring this up. I didn't know how we would get there. I'm just going to the most recent example of, like, again, getting a bit more aggressive by going 2 high 6Ks, 1 low 7. That lands us on Aaron Wise, $8,300.
Oh, I like that.
And it rates out better than the ones we just did. And it also, this to me is more unique because, like I said, you're getting to a guy in the 8Ks that nobody's really going to be on, and then you're going more aggressive. I think people think about how this sets up. When you go Scotty, you know you've got just over $7,600 left to spend. A lot of people start going down and say, I don't even need to go to the 6K range. Let me just look at these 7s. They pick a couple 72, 74, 73, 71. They're fine now. They can get into the 8s with my Hadwin play. They can get wherever. They're not even touching the 6s. You're not only touching it you're going with 2 guys and then also a low 7 in Charlie Hoffman. So I think that is another way you could do it.
So you could do it this way as well.
What do you got?
So same lineup. No Glover. Go down to Kendall Roy.
Oh, I like that call, by the way. So, yeah.
It doesn't get us there. I thought we could get up to your guy Montgomery with it. We're $100 short. But you could go Siwoo Montgomery if you wanted to and not Adam Scott.
I kind of like that. And it slightly beats the last one, too.
Siwoo Montgomery. And I put in Smotherman instead of Hoffman, but you can kind of interchange between those 2 guys, too, if you want. For me.
Smotherman?
Smotherman.
That's actually kind of nice. This one, Scotty, Siwoo, Taylor Montgomery, Smotherman, Carson Young, Kevin Roy. That's a nice one. The issue is, like I said, if you're willing to take off Smotherman and Montgomery, here's where you get really, really unique. When you go to your Glover call, 3 6Ks, but are they really, or is that just a product of the pricing?
It's a product of the pricing.
They all could have been 7K.
Like, why is Charlie Hoffman $7,100? Guy hasn't done shit in 2 years.
So this one actually, again, this is why, okay, I can't remember what actually got the job done last week. I think it was like a $48,800 lineup was the optimal, but just in general, remember we were on the show and we were like, man, these aggressive lineups are actually rating out better, and I don't think many people are building these aggressive lineups. Here's a situation where we got no 7K, no 8K, Pat. You go Scotty. You're gonna love the interchangeable on this too. It's Scotty, Siwoo, Kuchar, Glover, Young, Roy. And then you can swap Kuchar and Kim to Scott Power.
Oh, I like that.
And you're rating out better on all these than the ones we did previous, and you have no 7K guy at all.
Well, I would assume that the gap between whatever the projections on the 7K guys and the 6K guys aren't even equivalent to Scotty versus the rest of the field.
Right. It's significant when you look at the certain ranges. Like if you go down to 6,300, yes. Sure. But that was my point. When people get hung up on the range that they're in. But if Carson Young was 7K this week and Glover was 7,100, no one would be like, oh my God, those are the worst prices of all time. Just no one would say anything. And then Kevin Roy would be 68 or 69. It would be fine. But the most interesting piece here, Pat, and that's why I bring this up, is the no 7K is key because Scotty leaves 7,600. I've said this multiple times already, so people think like that. But the other thing, that's why I told you earlier and put it in air quotes with the sneaky thing, 3 9K guys leaves you just over $7,500.
Yeah, it'll be this.
So you're landing in the same pocket no matter what you do.
And here are the guys that people are going to. I just want to build that out. What I think that people will go to when they try to build this. You use Scotty, that's $7,600. Now we are just going to scroll down. Sam Stevens seems like he's going to be pretty popular this week. Bloop. Click on him. Michael Kim. People are using Michael Kim.
Definitely.
So we're going to go on to Michael Kim. Who else? Dylon Woo is another very popular name who's down in this region. So we throw him in. Now we're back at 78. So that means the next 2 guys on this list are some combination of Jimmy Walker and Yager.
I think it's Yager Cole probably, right? Or
Yager Cole. I'd say Yager Cole, Yager Lashley, Yager, if that fits. I don't know if it does.
Yeah, Yager Cole fits and projects way higher than, it's almost as high as my original.
Yager Cole, yeah. So Scheffler, Stevens, Kim, Woo, Yager, and Eric Cole, and that's Michael Kim. I feel like I don't want to. Michael Kim like rates out to be a very good play for me. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, with the ownership and stuff, I hear you, but. Who was the other guy we said? Oh, Yager. Yager definitely has to go into this. Like, that's what I was trying to look at. Yager has to go into it. Michael Kim goes into it. If we take Stevens out for a second, I just want to see, because I think Brandon Wu gets pretty popular here.
Okay. And do you think Jimmy Walker is going to actually be popular? Or is that just something people are like, hey, that seems like a good play, and then no one plays him?
Yeah, it feels like he comes in like that, like maybe 6 to 9%, 7 to 10%.
Not 14.
No, I thought it feels more like that anyway. We'll see, but that leaves you. Who was 7,500 that we said? Michael Kim. We were already on him. Ben Griffin. All right, so this one projected the best of any we did, and it's Scotty down to. It's basically the chalky version of what I told you my lineup was, and it projects less still actually, but it's Scotty, Yager instead of Hadwin in that range, and then it's Brandon Wu, Michael Kim, Ben Griffin, Jimmy Walker.
Okay.
That looks like what I think people will go to.
I don't like it.
So now this is what I'm saying, though, okay? Take out Scotty, take out Yager, take out Walker, and I think if you go, who do you think the most popular in the 9K is going to be? So Tom Kim, obviously, and then who else? Who's the other two?
Tom Kim, probably Scott and Hideki. Or actually, KH Lee. KH Lee and Kuchar.
So just of note, you can go, it does involve keeping Yager, but in that same lineup, you swap Scotty and I forget who the other person was, but Scotty and one guy.
If we put Walker back in, here's what it looks like.
Oh, it was Scotty Walker. Scotty Walker becomes KH Lee and Tom Kim.
Or you can go Tom Kim, Kuchar, KH Lee, Walker, Wu, and Kim. You can build almost like the all-Asian lineup here if you get rid of Kuchar. Seamus Power, is he Asian?
Who was that last one you said? He's not. Tom Kim, Michael Kim.
Tom Kim, Michael Kim, Kuchar and KH Lee, Jimmy Walker, and Dylon. Woo!
Oh, it's Dylon. Okay, and then Walker. And then that leaves us the 9,400, and you're going with KH over Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, personally.
And that projects horribly, so I don't like that one as much. But I think people will go to these types of lineups. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the first one that I told you was very similar, just very reminiscent of that lineup. I think I ended up moving Aaron Rye into it or whoever it might be, but I can go take a look at it right now.
This is too when people watch this.
I've talked myself out of Ben Griffin as we've been going along, so that's not positive for me. $7,500. Yeah, Hideki, Tom Kim, and Adam Scott to start. Those three with Lashley and Cam Young or Carson Young, not Cam Young. I wish Cam Young was $6,700. That leaves me anyone $7,500 and below. Could it be Michael Kim? Sure. Could it be Eric Cole? It could be Ben Griffin. It could be Aaron Rye. Luke List is going to be 0.5% owned. Even I don't want to use Luke List here.
You like Michael Kim, though?
I like him enough. I don't like 15% Michael Kim, who actually secret sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a secret. Maybe he's secret good, and I don't want to believe it, but I have a lot of history with Michael Kim. A lot of baggage.
The only issue with Michael Kim potentially is ownership.
That's what I'm saying.
For the range. There's just so many guys around him that are actually better on paper, better players. Again, he's been more active on Twitter lately, all these factors, so maybe that's why people are leaning towards it. The JDC narrative of the fact that guys that have done well at Birdie Fest, and that's one of them, he's won, and just remember he finally got the win and ran away with it there, so I think that's the reason he's being brought up a little bit more.
I would rather use Dylan Wu, who I do think is also going to be very popular, but I have more faith in Dylan Wu to come through. So
Hideki, Tom Kim, Scott, Wu, Dylon, Lashley, Carson Young.
Yeah. And you have $100 wherever.
Just let it sit.
Yeah.
It's fine. What about this? We didn't talk about this. Is there any chance now you can go Scotty Hatton? You land at 7,000.
I mean, you most definitely can. I just don't. I would rather go Scotty Hideki if I was going to build one of those lineups.
Carson Young. Who's the other guy you like?
Kevin Roy.
Roy.
The Roy toy? Sexy Roy?
This is actually kind of interesting. Let's see. If you take Hatton down to Hideki, go Young and Roy, it leaves you the same $7,500, but with two spots. So it's your Michael Kim and Sam Stevens.
I would prefer Stevens. I can go Stevens Wu.
Yep.
That works. Or Cole instead of Wu if you wanted to.
So this is the version 2 that also keeps Scotty, goes away from the Scotty 8K build that lands you in a comfortable zone and uses Hideki, and then you don't have any 8K guys at all.
If you had to throw one into, let's say, the 3180 this week, 100K to first, you only had one lineup to throw into that. Mm-hmm. What version of the lineup do you think that you would go with? Would you play the 45%, 50% Scotty with the field and get different from there? Or would you do one of those balance build with Hideki, Scott, and Tom Kim or something?
The only way to get 100% in that is to play your guy. So it'd probably be Scotty and get your it's just put him in there. I know we talked last time with the ROM situation, the higher the stakes you go,
we had Finau too, though. We don't have a phenom.
We don't have that exact example here. And I do, like I said, there's way more question marks on the guys below. The one that I wanted to look at, though, was like, how can you play Scotty differently? And that's what I was trying to figure out is like if you can go Scotty and 3 8K guys. Like if you can go.
You can. So let me try to see if I can figure this one out. Because I just want to see who's down in the 6s that Peter Quest. This guy needs. Can we like sponsor this guy so he changes his name to Peter Cust? Because it looks like it's Cust with a K. Like when you first look at it.
You probably could get
but
a
his
hat
name is
on him
Quest
or something. Yeah.
somehow. And not even like that awesome movie with Roger Moore and Jean-Claude Van Damme, The Quest, which is a Mortal Kombat ripoff. Used to watch a lot of JVCD movies back in the mid-90s.
Back in the day.
So of the guys, I mean, Roger Sloan is back on the PGA Tour for the first time in ages. That's a guy that people actively played all the time.
Yeah, same with Vince Whaley.
I forgot about Vince Whaley. That guy used to make every cut.
And finished up there. Yeah, he's back as well.
So I have no idea how Roger Sloan has been performing on the Korn Ferry Tour. Let me go take a look at this. Roger Sloan last week miscut. Good form. Coming in. What happened to this guy? He lost it.
Yeah.
Like he was in that playoff to win the Wyndham Championship with Kisner and Scott, and everyone was on him. Was he, or did he miss the playoff by a stroke?
I think he missed it.
Now I can't remember.
Or he might have made it and then it went down early or whatever. But
let's see. Coming in 31st, 36th, 21st, 36th, miscut. So it's it hasn't been good for old Canadian Roger Sloan.
If you could get to him, though, you can do some stuff.
Let's see. Weberlow makes every cut. He's down here.
I like the Roy call, man. Just play Roy.
I like Roy, too, but if we're going to try to get the guys... I mean,
it's more of your roster construction is what I'm saying. So here's an example.
Mark Messier, he's down here.
I saw that. Scotty Scheffler, you can still get to Jaeger, but then you go Bez and Hadwin right behind him.
Bez, Hadwin.
So you get the Scotty with 3 8K guys as opposed to one with all the 7s. You drop to Kevin Roy, and you land on 7,300.
Or you don't even need to do that. You could go Carson Young 7,100.
Carson Young 7,100. There you go.
Carson Young, Charlie Hoffman, or Smotherman.
So I like the Smotherman version probably. Let me
Scheffler,
see my...
Bez, Hadwin, Jaeger, Young, Smotherman.
I want to see my rankings.
I'm pretty sure that Carson Young should be number 2.
No, he's
Scotty
definitely
Scheffler.
not.
Are you sure?
He's definitely not even in my rankings.
Do you think you should refigure your rankings?
I might have to repick some guys. What about? I didn't talk to you about this guy. Do you have any?
Pearson Cooney?
Oh God, people are liking him.
We're back in his brother's in the field too.
Parker. This will be a classic situation where Parker beats Pearson just because. But
Pearson. But then his dad will pay to get him through the cut line.
Pearson does rate out from what, or should rate out well here. Like he could be very underpriced. When we usually talk about this, Pat, on major weeks, but where you're like you're paying low on a guy like Hootie should be more than 6,900 in the future. You would think.
You would hope so.
Yes.
But I've also made this mistake with like Austin Eckroat before too.
Correct.
Or who was the other jabroni?
Eckroat, by the way, same $100 more. I did want to talk to you about a guy that could be considered a jabroni though, Chad Ramey.
Oh, Captain Ramius?
Crushed it round 3 and round 4 last week.
Fuck that guy, man.
Dialed in. He's won on a
Birdie Fest before.
Corrales, Punta Cana? Or was it Puerto Rico? I can't remember which one it was.
This is a guy I wanted to talk to you about because he just kind of pops up with good ball striking weeks out of nowhere. It's Augusta Nunez. I feel like he's more of a showdown guy because he just has these great rounds. Him and Goya. And then Doc Redman. Misses cut everywhere, but can't chip, can't putt. Still striking it well, though.
What about Kramer Hickok?
Ooh. I had not considered him. Do you think he can finally win at the Travelers Championship if he gets into the field?
Gosh.
I loved Hickok at Valspar. He was
you were looking for Harris English. Here's the guy that went toe-to-toe 7 holes with Harris English.
I kind of like Harris English next week.
Okay.
At the PGA.
I don't think many will.
Please remind me of that when we get there so I don't talk myself out of it.
Let me build a crazy lineup with these ratings I got here. I just want to see how these things work out. Ramey Hickok.
How much is Ramey?
6,800. It's kind of like the Carson Young pivot. When I went looking at my Carson Young stuff, I have Doc Redman and Ramey above him.
Now, when you say Carson Young pivot, how popular do you think that Carson
You don't have to pivot. I'm just saying you and I are talking about the guy. I'm not using it in DFS terms. I should state that too. I'm saying just instead of using the guy we've been talking about the whole show, I could just move to a different guy there for a guy that I have rated better. I also have...
How about Kadira?
Mullinex up there. Kadira's not bad, actually. 6,700, right?
Kadira, looking at his numbers coming in, he can't drive, can't chip, can't putt. The irons...
Or no, 6,400. 6,400.
Yeah, 4.2 in Mexico, 2 at the Heritage, -4 at Valero. That's bad. 3 at Honda, over 5 at Pebble Beach. That's only in 2 weighted rounds at Pebble Beach. over one at the Farmers in 3 rounds. Like, the iron play hasn't been the problem here. It's just the rest of his game. He's played well here in the past. Like, if you need, like, I'm trying to make a case for someone below $6,500. Ryan Armour, I guess, would be the other one. That guy has like 3 good tournaments a year. He hasn't had one yet.
What about Mullinex at 7K?
Feel like he had his time. It's over.
It's over?
It's just like, don't worry about it. You're just finished. That's all.
47th last week, racked up, man. 62 DraftKings points, I think, last week. 7K.
Here's what I worry about with him. When he is firing at his best, like, I mean, I think I bet him to win the tournament with Zalatoris that you went to last year. I think he was pretty good there as well.
He was in, wasn't he in the playoff?
He came 5th. He cashes each way. That's what it was.
Mullinex, who was in the playoff again?
Straka.
Yes, that's what it was.
So when he's firing at his best, like, he's never really going to putt. You need to catch him on the right putting week for any sort of like huge scoring or huge finish. However, the driving has been really bad with him. And if he's not driving the ball well, like, that's his skill. He's pounding it like 350 and actually hitting a few fairways. And this one, he's all over the place. Now, he's been playing a lot of elevated fields, Wells Fargo and Heritage. Heritage you would never expect to be a very good one. I guess the case you could make for him is that the approach play has still been really good. But he can't chip, can't putt, can't drive. That's a bit problematic when he's already over his skis and approach to begin with.
It's definitely a problem, yes. There's, no doubt about that. But I'm trying to find, like, the build if you can get to that sort of range.
Maybe it's just Kevin Roy. Maybe you were right.
Might be Taylor Montgomery.
Kevin Roy rates out 5th for me.
If I go this one, do I get Montgomery? I'm $100 off. Benny Ann?
I mean, do we just play, as Kenny likes to go with, like, the all-Asian descent lineup?
You can do that.
You could do that pretty easily this week and actually have a really strong roster. It's basically like the roster that I won the PME Listeners League with at Wyndham last year. It was like Tom Kim, Sung Jae. I forget who else was in it at this point.
It's really tough to get this lineup I was trying to get to, but...
What if you just made Montgomery Wise?
Wise? And 7,900, is it Bramlett?
Because we have that lineup that we just made, that Scotty with Jagger, Hadwin, and Bez. Change Jagger into...
This lineup landed exactly on 420. That could be a good sign. But it's
what's the state of Texas's stance on smoking the reefer?
Not
great?
Probably not. Scotty, and then you drop the 9K range completely. Go Jagger, Wise, stay high in the 7s with Bramlett, and then get your Hickok, Ramey down at the bottom.
And how much did you say Ramey was?
He's 6,800.
68. Well, if I do that, actually, Ramey, Captain Ramius here. You can go Scheffler, Wise, Jagger, Bez, Ramey, Young.
Yeah.
Or you can drop Young into Roy, and I believe you can turn Jagger into Ben Ann if you wanted to. I think that works.
No, not quite. Oh, Hickok, if I drop him back down. I was trying to keep Ramey, though.
I think you can keep Ramey. You can drop Carson Young down if you want.
Who's 8,300? Wise? I already got him.
Oh, that only gets you back up that far?
I go Bez. I can only get back to 68. Yeah, this is where I kept running into the issue with the $100. I can get Wise up to Ann, though, or I can get Jagger up to Hoagie.
What do you make of Hoagie this week?
Yeah, I guess he's another one it's really tough to gauge the ownership on because it looks like he's coming in at 12 to 15, which is whatever. But when you go around him, like, what's Minwoo going to come in at? What's Taylor Montgomery?
I honestly do not think that Minwoo comes in at anything. No one's using Minwoo.
Well,
do you think people are using Minwoo?
It feels like he might just be a name that people just mention and then don't play.
It's trying to break down how the pricing works this week. Like you said, if you use Scheffler, you land in one spot. Or if you use the 3 9K guys, you land in exactly the same spot. So there's going to be a range of players that literally no one is using. Mm-hmm. And if we do think that Hoagie is one that is going to garner a bunch of ownership, and Jagger is, that means anytime that people go into the 8s, they're really only using one of those two guys. So if they're only using one of those two guys, we now have Power, McNeely, Montgomery, Ben Ann, Minwoo, Wise, Hadwin. And let's say people do use Bez because he's 8,000. Because they wanted to use Spawn, now they just use Bez. It's an easy switch. Mm-hmm. That's like 5 guys that literally no one are using. Like they'll be 5% less.
Yeah, that's what the case is to be made there and say. Like I said, that if there is going to be guys this week, plenty. It's every week, but especially this week, the way the withdrawals happen and things like that, where people will mention it and say it, and we'll get completely squeezed. You know, the opposite of what we're used to, where like last week, Cameron Young, we knew was going to be popular, but we didn't know 40% plus popular.
And Hovland, too.
Till the end. Hovland. Thigala last week, remember?
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Popped up from whatever, you know, most people had him 10 to 13 range, if you want to put 3% range on it, and went up to 20-something. So you just never know those, but like those particular setups. But your spot you're talking about here with Minwoo definitely seems pretty plausible.
I was not on Minwoo. I know that Jeff bet him this week, but I think if it came down to Minwoo versus Ann versus Montgomery, I'd probably play Minwoo.
Yeah, one interesting build range that I'm just looking at construction-wise, sorry, I should say, in involving ranges is like if you go Scotty and 2 8K guys, kind of like what we talked about, like a Scotty, Minwoo, Hadwin, you can go to an upper 7K guy as opposed to that 76 down to 71 range that seems like a hotbed for all the options. And then you end up still getting like a Ramey Hickok or a Carson Young, whoever, Smotherman, whatever you want to do there, you can still get to it. But I kind of like just having the guy up top with 2 8K guys. So Scotty, either 3 8K guys or 2 8Ks and a high 7 seems like an interesting way to play Scotty versus how others are likely to play. And running into the offset lineups, like I said earlier, which is important, where, okay, people that are fading Scotty, if they're going to the 3 9K with those same 7K guys, you're just flipping your 3v3s and you're still not gaining as much leverage unless, obviously, Scotty completely falters and your 9K guys crush. You have to use someone to fill it out somewhere, but I think this is a way to do it where you could end up just a little bit different.
Scotty, Minwoo, Bez, Stevens, Cole, Carson Young.
Stevens, Cole.
I just don't like that upper 7s. There's no one in there that really intrigues me that I want to play. So almost pencil in that the winner is going to be Davis Riley, but you can go on your way.
You said Roy in that one?
No Roy.
Oh, what was the other one?
Carson Young, Eric Cole, Stevens.
Got those.
Bez, Minwoo, Scheffler.
Oh, Bez, of course, rounds it out. Yeah, I see it now. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't project too bad either. Yeah, I guess upper 7s, if we just stop there for a second, couple guys. Sam Stevens, who you mentioned, not sure where his ownership will actually show up at.
It'll be good. Like, it won't be overwhelming, but it will be solid. It'll be like 10, 12%, I would guess.
And then what about Davis Riley?
That's a name I don't know what to do with because numbers would suggest that he should be very good. Just feel like he may have won and he like partied for 3 straight weeks.
I don't know. No, Texas as well, right?
He was so bad at the Wells Fargo. He lost 7 strokes putting in 2 rounds.
I don't know, man. He's got a little run going on, but won the team event.
Are people using him, I guess is my question.
I see 7 to 10.
Well, if that's the case, then yes. I'm more in on... I like Bez the best of the guys in like that little mini range. From, let's say, 8,000 to 7,500. I would rank them. Bez, Stevens, Riley. And that gets rid of Brandon Wu. Alex Smalley is withdrawn. Will Gordon and Bramlett are both in there. I'm always more prone to play Will Gordon than Bramlett, but...
I'm a Joey B guy.
I know.
Joey B Bramlett.
But most people are Joey B guys.
Yeah, I think he's the one that comes in at like 10 to 12 if it's possible.
And I think that Riley is objectively a better player.
Is Brandon Wu going to get the ownership or not?
I don't know. The more I looked into Brandon Wu, it felt a lot like that little bit of like the Denny Taylor Montgomery type situation that we've run into as well. Like when he plays well, and he does do it, he gains like 7 strokes putting, but it happens more infrequently than it does with Montgomery. And the rest of his game is like it's all over the place.
One more question: does this worry you, or are you cool that, or who gives a shit just using it? But he skipped a designated event, and now comes out and plays this. So it's like that. When there's so much money on the table, but it's the field and all that. If you need a week of rest, you need a week of rest. I get it. You got to set your schedule up for success. You want to play this week and see how it goes, whatever. And better chance of winning for someone whose game is on point. I think it was 3rd again in Mexico, right? Same as the previous season. So do you think that's better for a guy like him or worse, or do you just not care?
He seems like a guy that just believes in course history.
Right.
And like he was disastrous at this tournament last year. He made the cut and lost 3 strokes tee to green and gained 4 strokes putting and gained 2 around the greens. Like he couldn't drive, couldn't hit an iron. And you see that pop up in his game a lot. Like even the past 2 weeks, even in Mexico, he lost 2 strokes on approach. He gained over 8 on the greens, over 4 around the greens. When you're gaining 12 strokes against the field with your short game, that's pretty unsustainable.
And
stuff.
anyone that's doing that is showing up. Like anyone that's doing that, it's just what happens is it's crazy is that he was 3rd the year before. The same 2 guys above him this year, same 2 guys above him in 3rd, but with him with a different order above him this time with Finau getting the job done. But still, interesting just to think it from that point. But he does look like he's garnering ownership. So
yeah, I mean, I don't love him. I guess I see no reason to play him. If you see a reason to play him or bet him,
the reason thing is for me, I like Scott Stallings and Joey B better than him. So already, and it looks like they could be lower owned.
Even in the short term, here are three guys at the top of opportunities gained. Once again, the Fantasy National stat. Get on that weekly membership right now. 20% off, fantasynational.com/Mayo, and you can find all the stuff yourself too. Top 3 in opportunities gained. So best scoring opportunities. Ryan Palmer, number 1 over the past 12 rounds. Davis Riley, number 2. Kadira, number 3.
So let's start with those 3.
71, 79, 64. Other guys that are up there right now, Sam Stevens, Bez, Eric Cole, Kevin Roy, and Pearson Cootie. Then it's Scheffler.
Scheffler,
Hideki are the best of the top end. Then it's like Chuck Hoffman, Michael Kim, Tom Hoagie, the glove.
Ooh, this could be the lineup here, Pat. I know they didn't show up. Bez showed up, didn't he?
Bez showed up, yeah.
Okay, so listen to this craziness. Scotty Scheffler, Bez, and then the top 3 guys, Ryan Palmer, Davis Riley, Satoshi Kodaira. Lands you on $8,700.
For Taylor Montgomery, your boy.
The scoring machine.
So Scheffler, Satoshi, Palmer.
Yep.
Bez.
Riley.
Riley.
That looks like an upside lineup.
That does look like an upside lineup, yeah.
You got to worry about
you could get if you really want to continue on that theme of great opportunities gained, you could ditch Montgomery because he sucks at it and go with Hoagie, who's very good at it.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with Hoagie.
And then you have 200 left if you want it.
Well, I trust Roy more than Satoshi, even though he pops higher than that. So I would just swap those 2, and it still looks really good. And it's Scotty, Hoagie, Bez, Riley, Palmer, Roy.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
There's the lineup to win it all right there. We'll split it with all of our friends.
We're giving away more money, right?
Yeah, we're giving away more money by just giving you guaranteed winning lineups. Did you see that Brandon Infinger, viewer of the show, won the 100K last week?
Yes, I did.
That's
Congrats
awesome.
to him. Very huge. Hit him up, sent him a DM, just incredible stuff. He said if we're ever in Vegas, to let him know.
I'm in Vegas once a year.
Yeah, should let him know. He'll take care of you.
Nice.
What else was I going to say about that? You just said something else that reminded me. Oh, giving away money. Damn, I forget now. There was something else you just made me think of, but I'll remember it later.
Yeah, I'll have all the deets in the newsletter on Sunday about... Actually, I'll have it all I'll figure it out by the time I record with Ben and Kenny. That show should come out Saturday, research on Sunday, Jeff and I and Cust on Monday, me, Cam, and Pizzola on Tuesday, and then me and you on Wednesday.
Best way to do it.
I like it. Playing the Listeners League. Is your guys full yet?
It's very close, if not.
All right, so Fantasy Golf Degenerates Listeners League and the Pat Mayo Experience, both of the Listeners Leagues. You can find mine, obviously, down in the description. You can find Tambo's up on his Twitter page at Totag and Tambo, which you should follow, by the way, because you get the link to that, and you get the tidbits, same as if you subscribe to the newsletter as well. Completely free, Substack Mayo Media newsletter. Boom. You've got it all on the go. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!